If you've got a Bible, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 10. If you don't have one, there should be one underneath the seat in front of you. And if you don't have a Bible, that's just consider that a gift to you. So I've noticed something over especially the last couple of years, that I'm just at the age now where things just hurt. I'm just accepting that. Things just hurt. And so, I don't know why, but I go to bed and I wake up and my neck hurts. And it makes no sense. Like I didn't lift anything heavy. I didn't do anything. I just slept. And I'm in pain, and I don't fully understand it. But I noticed that when I stand up, I used to. It's just a normal thing. You stand up and you just go, right? You just stand up and you just go wherever you need to go. And I stand up now, and I got kind of get my bearings, all right, one, where I got to get everything, my body's all adjusted, and two, sometimes I got to go, now where am I going? What am I doing? But it's just the way, I don't understand it. But all of a sudden, it just hit. Now, I understand some of you guys in here, you're students, you're in your 20s, you're going, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I slept for 4 hours last night, and I feel great. Well, good for you, all right? Good for you. But actually, for you, let me just ask you this: have you ever been? Because there is a connection here. Have you ever been went to go check your phone, and you go to check your phone for one thing, and next thing you know, you've been scrolling for 45 minutes? Do you know what I'm talking about? You look up, whoa, what happened? You're on, just checking out Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, whatever it is, and next thing you know, you have just wasted an hour of your life, and you don't know where that hour went. It just went away. That's the same thing. The hours turned into years, and you wonder where the time went. This is what happens. Whether it's you're checking your phone or whether it's just your life, you turn around and you're like, What happened? What happened with the day? What happened with the days? What happened with the years? All of a sudden, life looks different. It feels different. And this is one of the things. This is what we're talking about. This is what Solomon's getting at today in Ecclesiastes 10. It's just this strange thing about life is that it's just so easy to lose time. You think you got plenty of it. You think you got a lot of it in front of you, but all of a sudden you realize it disappears faster than you expect. We're in Ecclesiastes chapter 11. I don't know if I said 10, but we're in Ecclesiastes chapter 11. And 11 is written by a man who is, Solomon's got a lot of life behind him. He's at the end of his life. And he's looking back, and honestly, he's looking back with a lot of regret and a lot of things that I didn't do the thing that I should have done. There's a lot of regret in my life, and he's just kind of mad about it, honestly. And he's looking back and going, and so what he's doing now is he's talking to a younger generation saying, hey, don't do what I did. Don't do what I did. I went after a lot of things, and I realized, I look back, I went after the wrong things. And so what he's saying is he's just pleading with the younger generation, don't waste your life. Don't waste your life. We're going to pick it up in chapter 11, verse 1. He says this, cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. Give a portion to 7 or even to 8, for you know not what disaster may happen on earth. What Solomon is referring to here is actually a business venture. He's talking about this is the terminology they would use for investments. This is you cast your bread upon the water, and what that means is that you're sending your grain out on the water. You're sending your grain out. So you got a business, and you're growing. You got a field, you got a crop, and you've got your grain, and now you're sending it out. You're shipping it out up on the water, and you don't know what's going to happen to that boat. So you don't send it all out in one boat. You send it out on 7 or 8 boats. You've got your grain, and so you send it out and you wait for a return. You wait for what's going to come back. And in fact, in 1 Kings, it talks about Solomon sending out his boats and shipping out what he has, and it bringing back his fleet, bringing back things like gold and silver and ivory. It actually mentions apes and peacocks. Solomon had a different life. He just had a different life. But you cast your bread upon the water. You cast it out. You send what you have out, and you're hoping for a return on your investment. He goes on. He says that the clouds are full of rain. They empty themselves on the earth. And if a tree falls to the south or to the north, or in the place where the tree falls, there it will lie. He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap. Here's what Solomon's saying. He's going, look, it's a risk. Like you don't know what's going to happen. Like you don't know what's coming back. But he's saying this, but here's one thing you can count on. If you don't send it, nothing's coming back. Like if you don't sow, you're not going to reap anything. But don't let the risk keep you from getting after it. Like don't wait for like perfect conditions before you step into it. Even if everything looks perfect, Solomon's going, it's still a risk. Like you don't know what's going to happen. Even if it looks great, even if it looks like the perfect opportunity, you still don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen. Life is so uncertain. Nothing is guaranteed. But Solomon says you should go after it anyways. Like you should get after it. Because no matter what happens, here's what he says. Here's the solace in this. He's going to look. He's getting ready to say, because no matter what happens, it's not random. It's not random. He's talking about, here's what he says in verse 5. He says, as you do not know the way the Spirit comes to the bones in the womb of a woman with child, so you do not know the work of God who makes everything. It's interesting here that he's wanting to talk about he's talking about the sovereignty of God. He's talking about the God is the one who is in charge of it all. And the way he talks about this is the mystery of what happens in the womb of a mother. He's going, listen, you don't know what happens. Like, we don't understand what happens in there. Like, we don't know how, like, we know, like something is forming in there, but how does life go? Like, how does the Spirit get inside that child? How does that child get the breath of life? Like, it's just interesting that no matter how advanced, this is thousands of years ago that Solomon is writing this. This is like 3,000 years ago. And it's like we've come a long way since then. Like medically and and understanding how life works, and medically how we're, like physiologically how we're formed and all of that. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter how advanced we get. It seems like the more we know about what happens in the womb, the more we realize that's a miracle. Like it is a miracle what happens in the womb. And the Bible is very clear about this. The life in the womb is a work of God. That the child in the womb is not random biology. It is not an accident. It is the work of the Creator. Amen. Which is why as Christians, we believe every life, even life in the womb, is precious and worthy of protection. But what Solomon is getting here is that what happens in the womb, it's mysterious to us. We don't fully get it. We don't understand it, but it's not a mystery to God. Like he knows what's going on because he is the one who is doing it. Solomon's going, so much of life is a mystery, but it's not a mystery to God because he's the one who is doing all of it. The random kind of, crapshoot of life, it's not random. It's not random. It's actually all in the hand of a sovereign God, and he knows what he's doing. Here's what Solomon is saying. Take the life that God has given you and use it up for what you were made for. Like take the life that God has given and you just get after it and use it for what you were made for. What were you made for? You were made to make much of him. You were made to make him known. So risk your life for what matters. Listen, there are risks in everything. So don't allow your life to be paralyzed with fear, waiting for guarantees, waiting for the perfect opportunity. Get after it. You have no idea what God might do. I was just thinking about how we've seen that happen here and just over the years. And I was thinking about the first trip that we made to Haiti several years ago. Many of you were on that trip. I think we had something like 25 of us go on that trip. And we didn't, it was new to all of us. And we go and we go to the city and we meet Stephen and Autumn Bixby, our missionary friends there. And he had planned for us, this is what your week's going to look like. And so what we did during the day is we just did various projects. But at night, what we would do is he had planned for us that we would go certain parts of the city and set up and preach the gospel, sing songs and preach the gospel. And so that's what we did. So we would do things during the day, and then at night, we go to a certain part of the city for a couple days and then set up a stage, set up sound, and they'd have some Haitians just kind of leading songs and to Jesus, and then I would preach the gospel and some others would share, and then we go to another place, and often the places we were going, they were surrounded, particularly one area, it was kind of like in this park, and it was just surrounded by like these Haitian homes. And here's the thing, like this is our first trip. We don't know anything about this culture. We're just trusting, hey, we'll do what you tell us to do. And so we would do that every night. We would go out and we would just set up the sound and do all the thing. And here's the thing, hardly anybody came. Like there's people like all around. There's like houses all around. And we would have some come, but not very many. And it was just kind of strange. And so we're just kind of singing to kind of an empty field and preaching to kind of an empty field. And there's like all these houses around. And it's like they're not coming out. And so at the end of the week, we just say, hey, we did what we could do. I don't know. It was kind of strange, but hopefully that was meaningful. And a week later, a week after we got home, I got a call from Stephen. He said, hey, I got to tell you what happened. He said the team that came in after you, we went into those places where we set up and shared the gospel, and so they just went door to door and just started sharing the gospel. And those people were giving their life to Jesus like left and right. He says, I guarantee, he says, I know what happened. I know what happened. These people, when you guys were preaching the gospel, these people were ready. They heard and they were ready to receive Jesus. I'm like, we didn't know. We're just going, is this doing anything? We're just out here. Is this doing anything at all? Who knows? If you were at our members meeting last week, you heard a couple stories. There was one that I'll share with you. The one was we were talking. It was came out of. If you know, we were here at Halloween. We did something for the first time. We did something called Trunk or Treat, and I know there's a lot of different opinions about Halloween and what you should do, what you shouldn't do, and that sort of thing. Here's just kind of my idea. My thought is it is the one day a year where families will leave their house and come to my house and show up at my door. So we're going to take advantage of that and share the best we can, share the love of Jesus. And so that's what we do. So we did a Halloween, we did a trunk or treat out on the parking lot, and we just dressed up, had all these, a bunch of y'all come out and set up, and dress up and hand out candy. And well, there was a gentleman lives in a neighborhood back here, and he brought his daughter, and they went through the whole deal, and to get home, and she's like, hey, Dad, can we go to that church? And he's like, man, I hadn't been to church since I was 10 years old. And so they started coming, and eventually I had a conversation with him. We got him connected into a Next Step group, and he's like, man, I don't know. I'm very new to all of this. I don't know. I'm like, hey, once you get in our Next Step group where you learn what the gospel was and what it means to follow Jesus. And 3 weeks ago, he said, I'm ready to give my life to Jesus Christ. Yeah, amen. Amen. Listen, we don't know. We're just out there dressing up like fools, right? And handing out candy and just trying to have conversations with people. And God uses it. God's going, I'm going to take that and I'm going to bring eternity to someone. I'm going to bring everlasting life. I'm going to bring eternal life, new life, forgiveness to somebody as a result. We don't know. We're just casting bread upon the water. I don't know. If you've been part of FECNO for some time, you know that every year we do something called Serve Sunday. And at Serve Sunday, there's one thing, we do a lot of different projects at Serve Sunday, but one thing that we have done every year is we come to you and say, hey, can you take these bags of groceries, take them home, fill them up with groceries and bring them back, because we're going to take these groceries into the community. And so we've done that every year. And we don't really target, we just got like areas like, hey, just go there and just go door to door and just say, hey, we'd just love to give you a bag of groceries. And so we did that, and there was a gentleman and his wife who received a bag of groceries, and a few weeks later, if I remember the story right, he rides his motorcycle up here to the church, and there was a gentleman that was mowing the grass, and he just happened to catch him and he said, hey, if I come to church here, what do I have to wear? And it was like, well, just wear pants, just whatever you want to wear. Just wear what you want to wear. And then in November, he shows up for the first time at a men's Bible study. And on that night, we just happened to be going through the book of Job, and come to find out this guy's been through some stuff. And his wife's been going through some stuff, like medically, he had gone through some stuff, and it just spoke to him. And well, last Sunday, we just voted that brother in as a member at FECNL. Been out of church for a long time. Yeah, praise the Lord. Been out of church for a long time. I'm skeptical of the church, skeptical of church people, which I understand. I've been in this my whole life. And he's like, man, and if you hear him talk, and he talks about, man, what God has done in and through his life, through you, through the people of the church. Listen, we're just casting bread upon the water. We don't know. We don't know. We have no idea. We're just going, hey, we know what we're given to do. We're just going to do it. We're going to take some risks and see what happens. This is what he's talking about. Risk your life for what matters. You don't know what's going to happen, but the one who makes everything is the one putting it all together, which means that your obedience is never wasted. So don't waste your life waiting for guarantees. Risk your life for what matters. Get involved in that ministry. Show mercy to somebody in need. Strike up a friendship with that neighbor. Share the gospel with your friend. Share the gospel with your kid, with your mom, with your dad. You don't know what God might do. And he goes on and he says, light is sweet. In verse 7, light is sweet, and it is pleasant for the eyes to see the sun. Solomon's talking about the times in your life when everything's just working. He's talking about there's times in your life that you're healthy and you're young and you wake up and your body doesn't hurt and your relationships are working. And he says, man, there's just times when life just works and is great. And just a heads up, that's about as happy as Solomon gets for the rest of this chapter, right? And he says in verse 8, he says, so if a person lives many years, let him rejoice in them all. He's going, while you still have the opportunity, while you have the opportunity to enjoy life, just live it fully. Like you don't get to decide how many days you have to live. So enjoy the life that God has given you. Like enjoy the life that God has given you. He says, he goes on, he says, but let him remember that the days of darkness will be many. All that comes is vanity. In other words, enjoy life now because eventually, like your knees are going to give out, your back is going to ache, and you're going to get old. He says, and then he says, rejoice, O young man, in your youth, and let your heart cheer you in the days of your youth. Walk in the ways of your heart and the sight of your eyes. I mean, how many of you know that there's a big difference between, wanting to do something and actually doing the thing? There's a big difference in wanting to do something, become something, than actually doing the thing and becoming the thing, like becoming that person. Like you can say, man, I've got some things that I want to do. I've got somebody that I want to be. But that's a bit. I mean, a lot of people have that. But then there are some that are actually going after the thing. There are some that are actually doing the things to become the person that they want to become. Most people live with two lists. One of two lists. One, you got a lot of people living with the list of here's things I want to do. And then you got other people that are living with things that they wish they would have done. And here in verse 9, this is Solomon going, hey, do your want-tos. Do what brings you joy. Do the thing that brings you joy. You are made to enjoy. God made you to enjoy life. Like, do the things that you enjoy. Now, listen, I know a lot of us grew up in a Christian home, and that doesn't sound right, does it? Like, do the things you enjoy. I mean, we kind of grew up with the idea, like, if it feels good, you should probably repent, right? Because it probably wasn't good. Like, that's how we grew up. It's like, if it's enjoyable, you better question it. You better, because it's probably not the thing that you should be doing. But this is not what the scripture says. It's not what you find in the Bible. Over and over throughout this book, Solomon's going, hey, enjoy your life. Enjoy the opportunities that God gives you in this life. And where do you think Solomon got that from? He got that from his dad, King David. David, who wrote many of the Psalms, like in Psalm 16, he said this. This is what David said, you make known to me the path of life. God, you make known to me the path of life. You will fill me with joy in your presence, with eternal pleasures at your right hand. And then in Psalm 37, David wrote this, which Solomon learned but certainly forgot. He said, delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Meaning that God is the source of enjoyment, that God is the source of pleasure. Now, some people read this, like, delight yourself in the Lord, he'll give you the desires of your heart. You read that and you go, okay, so then if I love God, then he'll give me everything I want. He'll give me money, he'll give me success, he'll give me the perfect life. That's not what he says. What it says is this, when you delight in God, God changes your desires. He changes who you are. He changes what you want. Listen, a lot of us lack joy because we're chasing the wrong things. Like we got it backwards. We went after the desires of our heart and we forgot to delight ourselves in the Lord. We just went straight to the things that my heart desires. And I'm just going after it. I'm just getting after it. But listen, we know that if you just chase after what your heart desires without first delighting in the Lord, then what happens is what you pursue is who you become. Like if you worship money, you'll become greedy. You worship sex, you become perverted. But when you delight in God, he reshapes your desires. An old church father, Augustine, said it this way. He said, love God and do whatever you please. Just love God and do whatever you please. Meaning that when your heart is anchored in God, the things that you want begin to line up with the things that he wants for your life. This is why some of you are you're so stressed out thinking you're like this whole idea of, well, what's God's will? What's God's will for my life? What am I supposed to do? What's God's will here? Should I take this job? Should I marry this person? Should I move? Should I stay? But if you love God, I think you're pursuing him. Like he is what your life is all about. I mean, your life, it just points to the fact that, he is my greatest desire. Like he is my greatest delight. Then the question is not what is God's will. It's not the question you should be asking. But God begins to change your desires. So he begins to place his desires inside of you so that what you want and what he wants, it lines up. And so if you're asking the question, like, should I marry this person? Well, then this is the answer. Like, does he love Jesus? Like, is he walking with Jesus? Do you love him? They get married. Should I take this job? Well, do you want that job? Can you make much of Jesus in that job? Then take the job. Like, you don't have to turn every decision into some mystical puzzle. I hesitated on whether I should share this or not, but I will. A few years ago, there was a church that contacted me about becoming their pastor. And they just like, hey, we just like for you to think about this. This is where we are. This is what we got. What's going on. And honestly, looking at it, it seemed like the right move. I mean, it just seemed like the right thing to do. It was like, yeah, that makes sense from where we are and just the opportunity that is there. And so we had conversations for a few months about doing this. And it finally came back to, they're like, all right, we're ready to go. We want you guys to come on. And I said, well, just if you could just give me a few days to think, like, let's continue to pray, talk to my wife, and we'd been there and saw the whole thing, and so prayed, and it just like, man, it just seems like what should happen. I mean, and one morning I was at the breakfast table. I was on my way up here, and I just told my wife, I said, we're not going to do it. And she was like, what? Like, she didn't want to do it anyways, but I'm like, I said, no, we're not going to do it. And she thought for sure that this was happening. And she's like, well, why? What's going on? And I said, I don't want to. I mean, we can spiritualize it. We can put all the things, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to go. I don't want to leave. I just want to be here. Listen to me. You know how freeing that is? When you're just going, I'm just not like, I don't have to make it into something. Well, because my personality is bent toward, well, if it's hard, then that must be the right thing to do. But we factor out, do you not think that God gives you desires? If you're delighting in him and you just want to know him and you want to pursue him, then what is it that you want to do? Like, you don't have to make it complicated. There is freedom. If you delight in God, the desires of your heart are being shaped by him. So you are free to pursue the desires of your heart. But then he says this, but know that for all these things, God will bring you into judgment. So this is Solomon going, hey, live life, do what your heart desires, and be careful, because one day after you've died, you're going to get up out of your grave and you're going to look Jesus in the eye and explain to him what in the world you were doing here. Like, that day's coming. So get after it. Go for it. Enjoy the life God gave you. Do what brings joy, but don't be stupid, is what he's saying. In other words, it's good to have dreams. It's good to have goals, but don't forget to first pursue God. Read your Bible, pray, talk to the Lord, listen to the Lord, learn from the Lord, delight in him. And as you do, you will find within you a vision, a joy, an excitement, desires, along with the fear of God that keeps you from being an idiot. Enjoy the life God gave you. How do you do it? How do you enjoy the life God gave you? You do what brings you joy. And then he says, and remove the things that bring damage. Like remove the things that from your life that bring damage. Like he says this, he says, remove vexation from your heart. Solomon is saying here, don't carry around the things in your heart that poison your life. Like some of you struggle with anxiety, you struggle with depression. And listen, I realize for some of those struggles are connected to a real medical issue, and it's serious. I get that. But Solomon is talking about the stuff that we allow to live in our hearts that slowly drains the joy out of our life. Like bitterness and jealousy and anger and constant comparison and resentment toward that one who hurt you. That if you let those things sit in your heart long enough, they will poison the life that God has given you. And Solomon saying, remove them. Like clear your heart. And the way that happens is not by pretending that it's not there, just acting like it never happened, acting like it's not a thing. It happens when you draw near to God, when you enjoy God, when you fear God, when you walk with God. Because when you draw near to God, God renews and redeems your heart, giving you the ability to actually enjoy the life that he's given you. He says, remove vexation from your heart. And he says, put away pain from your body, for youth and the dawn of life are vanity. So here's what he's saying, just very simply. He said, listen, don't do things to your body when you're young that you'll regret when you're older. Like, when you're young, your metabolism is high. It's like good, right? You can eat whatever you want. You can eat it's great. You just eat whatever you want and you just never, your body just never changes. And Solomon's, listen, he's going, look, don't forget that one day you're going to be 40. And you're going to have to run 8 miles to burn off a Tic Tac. That's coming. So you better start exercising now. You better start taking care of yourself right now. Listen, when you're young, I get it. You think I'm going to live forever. So you do all kinds of stupid things. And then 40 years later, you're limping around because your joints are hurting and you can't move. Solomon says you need to take care of yourself when you're young because life is moving faster than you think. You hit a point in your life and you realize that you're getting old. So be careful with your health. Careful with your body. Diet, exercise, buckle up, wear a helmet, wear knee pads. Take care of yourself. That's what he's saying. How do you enjoy the life that God has given you? You do what you enjoy, you remove what brings damage, and then he says, and then follow the one who brings life. Pursue the one who brings life. This is how you enjoy the life God's given you. You pursue the life, the one who brings life to you. He says, remember also your Creator in the days of your youth. A couple of things going on here in chapter 12, verse 1. He says, it is what Solomon is pointing out is that God is our Creator. That he created you and he gave you ears to hear. He gave you eyes to see color. He gave you hands to embrace and create. God gave you breath in your life for enjoyment. God is behind all this. So he says, remember your Creator when you're young. Remember your Creator when you're young. And Solomon's an old man at this point, and he is pleading with young men and women to not forget that you have a small window of life that will affect the next 30 years. It's just really crazy, right? We make the biggest decisions of our life at a time when we are not ready to make the biggest decisions of our life. Physiologically, our brains are not even formed fully yet. And yet we're making we're making decisions for our life that will affect the rest of our life. And so Solomon knows this. He has understanding of this. He's listen, don't forget your Creator now. Now's not the time. When you're young, now is not the time to forget your Creator. Not while you're making these decisions for your life. Not when you're choosing who's going to be your husband and who's going to be your wife. And you're not when you're choosing, your job, what job you're going to go into. Like, don't forget Jesus now. Because if you forget your Creator now, you're setting yourself up for a really miserable future. Because the choices you make now will play out for the next 30, 40 years of your life. So Solomon's pleading with you. He's going, listen, I've already lived it. I know. Please listen to me. And that's because Solomon knows, he knows what it's like to forget God. Like, he knows exactly what it's like. You see, when Solomon was young, we talked about this before, when he was young, man, he longed for God. When Solomon was young, he pursued the Lord. Like, he was a teenager, a young man who went after the Lord hard. I mean, this was at a time when he was going to take the throne from his dad. Like, his dad was like, it was getting passed on to Solomon, and there was a time where God's going, Solomon, so what do you want? Like, anything, you just tell me. And Solomon's going, I need wisdom because I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to lead these people. I don't know how to lead a nation. I'm so young. What in the world? And God was so pleased by that. He said, you know what? Since you didn't ask for wealth and power and a long life and all that, he said, I'll give it all to you. And I'll give you wisdom. And then all of a sudden, Solomon sees a good-looking girl who doesn't worship the same God. And now he's no longer delighting in God, but instead pursuing his own crooked desires. And before you know it, he's sleeping with 1,000 women who then convince him to worship other gods, some of which practice sacrificing children. Now, how do you go from walking with God, writing books of the Bible, building the temple where God would show up? How do you go from that to sleeping with 1,000 women, worshiping false gods, and killing children? It's easy. Somewhere in your life, you forgot God. Somewhere in your life, you forgot your Creator. That's how you do it. You just live your life. You just go about your life, following the way of the culture. Solomon didn't, it wasn't on a dime that he changed. It was gradual. Like, you just don't pray, you don't read the Bible, you don't confess your sin, you don't hang out with God's people, you just forget them. And I promise you, it doesn't happen overnight, but it will be a gradual decline. And he's going, listen to me, I've lived it. Don't forget about him now. Don't not pray now. Don't run from the Lord now. If there's ever a time to pursue Jesus, young man, young woman, it is right now. Don't waste your life. Risk your life for what matters. Enjoy the life God has given you. And then, this is how he closes it out. He says, remember where your life is headed. Remember where your life is headed. How do you not waste your life? Risk it for what matters. Do what you enjoy. Enjoy the life that God has given you. And then remember where life is headed. Here's what he says in the second part of verse 1. He says, before the evil days come and the years draw near, of which you will say, I have no pleasure in them. In other words, there is coming a day that you will not want to be alive anymore. That's what he's saying. Now, that's kind of hard to imagine that there's coming a day for all of us that if we live long enough that you're going to wake up one day and go, oh, dang, I woke up again. But he's going, that's coming. That's coming. And listen, just being a pastor in the ministry for these last, almost 30 years, I have spoken and been in the presence of many people who have just kind of lived life and they're at the kind of the end of their life going, I just want to go. I just want to go. I just want to go. He says, there's coming a day when you'll have no pleasure in being alive. We'll just want to die. And then Solomon's going to describe the aging process. It's going to be great. Here we go. He says, verse 2, he says, before the sun and the light and the moon and the stars are darkened, the clouds return after the rain. This is a poetic way of saying that as you came into this world, you will leave this world. As you came in, you will leave. So we have several in here that are parents of newborns, right? And right now, your newborn, what do? They eat and they sleep and they go to the bathroom, right? That's what Solomon's going, there's coming a day, that's your day. That's what's going to happen. That your day will be defined by I eat and I sleep and I go to the bathroom. That's your day. So Solomon says, while you're still young, follow Jesus and follow the desires of your heart. Just get after it while you're young, because that day is coming. And then he says, in the days when the keepers of the house tremble, he's talking about hands. And someday your hands are going to shake to where things like buttoning your shirt and putting on a watch will be impossible. He says, and the strong men are bent. The strong men here, he's referring to our legs. One day that they're not going to stand as straight as they do now. And the grinders cease because they are few. He's talking about your teeth. He's essentially saying that there's coming a day when corn on the cob will no longer be on the menu, right? And it's like, you know what? Cream corn sounds pretty good, right? That's just coming. It's coming. And those who look through the windows are dimmed. He's saying that one day you won't see as well anymore. And the doors to the street are shut. When the sound of the grinding is low, he's referring to our hearing, that you won't be able to hear as well. And one rises up at the sound of a bird, and all the daughters of song are brought low. He's going, even though your hearing will go, you won't be able to sleep anymore because the slightest noise will wake you up. Makes no sense whatsoever. But this is coming, and you wake up early for no reason. This is already happening to me. 3:15 every morning. It's like I'm just up. Like, what is that? I'm dying. That's what it is. He says they are afraid also of what is high, and terrors are in the way. He's talking about how when you get older, you just get nervous. You get older, you just like the world just is moving faster, and you just don't feel like you're catching up. Like there's always like things that are advancing, and you're like, I don't know it. I don't know what's going on. And just things are moving faster and faster, and yet your body cannot move as fast. You're not quick to see as like you used to. And so driving the car or being in large crowds just becomes terrifying. And so you just rather stay at home. It says the almond tree blossoms. The almond tree, when it blossoms, is white. So he's saying when you get older, your hair turns white. Or worse, it leaves your head and comes out your ears. I don't understand that. The grasshopper drags itself along. He says that when you get older, it becomes more and more difficult to move, to function, to run, to jump. And then he says that and desire fails. He's talking about sexuality. He says eventually you're just not interested in sex anymore. You know, it's interesting to me that Solomon, who loves women, obviously, he has 1,000 women in his house. It's interesting that he put this last on his list. Maybe he's a little bitter, I don't know. He said, because man is going to his eternal home and mourners go about the streets. Solomon says that one day that we will all end up in the grave. Okay, so he's going to go back to his reason for bringing this up, and that is don't forget about God in your youth. Don't forget about God in your youth. Verse 6. He says, before the silver cord is snapped, that's a reference to your spine, or the golden bowl is broken, that's your head, or the pitcher is shattered at the fountain, that's your heart, or the wheel broken at the cistern, that's your veins and arteries, and the dust returns to the earth as it was, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. That you and I have been fashioned together by God, and your life, your soul that was given to you in your mother's womb is on loan from God, and one day will be required back to its owner. That your body goes into the grave and your soul departs from your body, and you will stand before the God of the universe where you will receive your eternal judgment. And from there, you are either headed to heaven or to hell. And this is Solomon pleading with you and me. Remember God. Remember your Creator. Remember where you came from and remember where you're going. And he says, vanity of vanities, says the preacher, all is vanity. Vanity is the word that is used to mean vapor. It's like seeing your breath on a cold day. You see it and then it's gone. This is what Solomon is saying here. Life is a vapor. It's here, and then before you know it, it's gone. And so we've got this We've got this one life, like this one set of teeth, this one pair of knees, these arms and these legs, and this one mind and this ability to see and the ability to hear, the ability to enjoy all that God has given. So don't waste this life. Risk your life for what matters. Enjoy what God has given you. And remember where your life is heading. It's like, do you like to fish? Do you like to hunt? You won't always. You like music? You won't always. You love your family? Live long enough? You won't even know your family. So we've got this day today. So if you got a wife, kiss her. If you got a steak, you should eat it. If you got some running shoes, go for a run. You got a friend who doesn't know Jesus, you should tell him. Because the days are few and time is moving fast.